Shrita mentioned that we are just now getting some real questions about sexual orientation and gender identity in the Census Pulse. I guess this is kind of for either one of you. What are kind of the key considerations in thinking about how those questions are asked and how we are finding out about people's gender identity and sexual orientation on surveys? This can be kind of a difficult thing to square the circle on, I guess. So curious if you have thoughts about that.
I think that it's a good question. I think people are figuring that out now. People are just starting to dig into those data. And I think what we found is that there are some issues with some of the editing patterns for transgender people because that was a more complicated process of identifying who was transgender, looking at sex assigned at birth and on a birth certificate, a two-step process basically, and then asking about current gender identity. For LGBT people, the sexual orientation questions have been asked on a lot of healthcare surveys or sort of health-related surveys. That's mostly what we've had to work with. So I think that's maybe a little bit better established. But I do know that on the Pulse survey that people are finding very high rates of being LGBT, which are not really about being a young sample. So I think we don't really know yet why that would be so different. So I think it'll help, I think, answer questions and figure out what some of the best ways are to put them on our economic surveys. I don't know, Sharita, you might have other thoughts about that too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a work in progress, as any data collection that the federal government does. So I think we focus a lot on Household Pulse because it's what we've got. It's the new one. It isn't perfect. That should not be a barrier to adding these questions in other surveys, to doing further testing, further work with community. There's a number of different bodies that the federal government has to look to dig into just these questions. And so really supporting the need for more investment in improving the quality of the data that we have, I mean Lee and the actual researchers. I'm just a lawyer that fakes it. But while we are asking these questions and very rightly critiquing the data sets available, that's not the community saying don't do it. It's the community saying do it better. And the government really does need to listen to these experts and the community on improving these sources of data.